Hey, we almost started on time.
Almost.
I'm your host, Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this.
Yeah, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I forgot that part. We got the new camera still, so things have gone well, and it's actually, look at that. It's not tilted like it was last week, so I fixed that.
Yeah.
We got no news this week though.
Yeah.
No Star Wars news. Let's jump into what we've been up to this week besides Star Wars. Because we like to talk about ourselves and what we do that's not Star Wars, and you know, kind of just interact with you guys on another level and just kind of get personal. So, what have you been up to? I know at some point Cyberpunk's gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna speed blitz that one.
Oh, okay. A lot happened, I assume.
No, nothing happened in my Cyberpunk 2020 game this week.
Oh, okay.
But what I have done is I've started up my second playthrough of Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
And
of 2077.
Of 2077. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I've talked with other people who have kind of played the game, is the difference between the voice acting for male V and female V.
Mm-hmm. Is it similar to the type of discussion between male and female shepherds?
A little bit. Like, male V sounds tired and yeah, whatever, man level. Mm-hmm. Female V is so mad about everything.
Hey, Pixie. It's our friend Pixie.
Hi, Pixie.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah. Like, male V is... I don't know if it's because I spec, trickery for male V, so I ended up with a lot of his dialogue options being lying or tricking people, whereas female V, I've maxed out body, so she's just I will fucking rip your throat out, whereas male V is you could let me just walk in and not have any problems, and I can just talk to your boss about a raise.
Yeah. Hold on, let me fix something. I realize our mic is a little...
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we're peaking a little too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Hi.
There we go.
I had to beat the shit out of his computer for a second.
Yeah, so my computer, the fan works, it's just the motor is dying, and so I have to fight the motor. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, I'm also fighting our camera.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, we're having all of the stuff today. There we go.
There we are.
I just had to reset it.
Yo.
Hey.
Can you hear us? We moving?
We moving, we're good. Moving and shaking. All right. So you were talking about your 2077 run and the discussion of male v, female v voice acting.
Yeah. like I was saying, like Male V is so tired of all the bullshit. Female V is like, fucking let's just go beat everyone. Like, that's a fun thing. Also, I chose different starting backgrounds. Went Nomad for the first one, Street Kid for this one.
Beyond like an opening sequence, does that really change anything?
It changes certain dialogue options.
Okay.
I
understand the opening is slightly different too, depending on
Yeah. Street Kid is like, you grew up in Night City, you know how it goes. Whereas Nomad's like, you've been living out in the desert.
Living in the desert? Yeah. Don't mind me,
Oh yeah, you're doing some stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if maybe I air it out a little.
But that's been fun. The other, and I guess I'll stop talking about Cyberpunk now because that's really all I had to say for it, is the, we were talking about it just before the stream started.
Oh, did you look up?
No, not that. I will look that up.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't have to right now, but yeah.
About whether or not I was gonna talk in a dramatic fashion.
Oh yeah, you talking yeah. We were just because we were just discussing the fact that Seth can sound a bit dramatic when he's talking. I labeled him along the levels of a comic book character. I
don't think it's that bad, okay?
I'm not saying it's bad, it's just noticeable.
You know why? It's because I think before I talk. A skill most people don't have.
Seth coming in here for a fight.
That's right, I'll fight everybody.
Oh, man. You know what? I can't even... We love dramatics. Yeah, exactly. But no.
I was going to say, I speak very formally, which is what makes it sound dramatic.
Yeah.
That's not intentional.
It's I think it's because...
It's because I use whole words when conjunctions would suffice.
I do not think I speak. That can be proven by the videos I've edited. Yeah, that's actually very provable.
Pixie speaks before she thinks.
But so does Zach, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, you know, at least since they're together on that, you know, it's an equal playing field.
Oh god.
But I mean, but I was gonna say, as far as formal speaking, it's because less people speak formally. Like, people just, especially when you're just around friends, like, people don't tend to do that. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, when you're around your friends, people just don't speak formally usually. So I think it stands out that you do because of that. It's kind of like if somebody back in the day spoke Shakespeare English around all their, like, it's the difference, right? It's the difference between speaking Shakespeare English and just common English.
Oh god. Speaking of, that reminds me, I've also been getting into Fortnite recently thanks to Sky and Chris.
Hey.
They somehow convinced me.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Like, it's just, you go around and hang out with your buddies, do stupid stuff, get into trouble.
We've been playing a lot of the, like, Lego Fortnite of all things.
Honestly, the Lego Fortnite is pretty chill. It's pretty, like, it's honestly, if you just want to play a fun little creative mode thing, almost Minecraft in nature.
Yeah.
Like, if you like those type of games, then you'll like Lego Fortnite.
And in regards to, like, Shakespeare and also speaking formally, Sky was like, I was explaining that you wouldn't use...
You were giving him an English lesson?
I was giving him an English lesson about, like, oh, if you want to sound like you're from that time, you wouldn't use the word thou'st.
Yeah.
You would use thou willst or thou canst.
Well, and also even Shakespearean English was not the common English of the day.
No one uses that shit.
Like, even during his day, nobody was speaking like that. That was just him being artsy.
Yeah. Language is a fun thing.
And so, recently I've been watching...
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so as of last night, I started watching, because we like Always Sunny in Philadelphia here on the channel. Pixie said she needs a whole podcast of just you speaking like Shakespeare.
God damn it.
Just form a...
Tell you what, you go and grab one of the fucking things and I will read the first fucking page.
I could get you... You know what? I think I might have Star Wars Shakespeare somewhere around here. We'll do a whole reading of Star Wars Shakespeare.
A whole reading of Star Wars.
Just get you, me, and a few others that are in the Star Wars community. Just have us all pick a character and start reading.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be... You know what? That should be like a... That feels like a community goal.
Yeah.
That feels like that y'all get us enough subscribers and followers and get it to where we can be monetized, and then we do that as a goal for y'all.
Yeah.
That's a monetization goal. How about that? Yeah, there we go. That's how you do it. So a couple things have happened this week.
Yeah.
As far as like personal stuff, so we're Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans here on the channel. I've gotten you into it, and I've been into it for years, and Zach is into it, which is
I like how you're trying to get me into it.
You like the show, don't even.
I like the show, alright. The characters aggravate me.
But that's the point. They're not meant to be good people. They're
I don't know which actually, no. The cast of It's Always Sunny aggravates me less than the fucking corporate lawyers.
Suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's actual villainy that exists in the real world. Whereas, well, you know what? Actually, I was gonna say people like the characters in Always Sunny don't exist, but there are people like that, which is also the aggravating part. Anyways, Glenn Howerton, who plays Dennis, was in another show in 2018, and I started watching it because it's on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for a while. It's called AP Bio, and honestly, it is so hilarious. The premise is, and I kind of explained it to you, but like for the audience, is Harvard college professor for philosophy no longer works there because he got into a fight with an old man, and he lost, actually. There's a viral video in the universe of him losing to this old man and getting choked out. But he moves back to his hometown of Toledo to become a high school teacher for AP Bio, hence the name of the show. But he's actually trying to use it as like his time to have a year to kind of get revenge on one of his rivals who works at a nice Ivy League college, and he's going to try to take his job by getting this guy fired and then step in and be like, hey, you should hire me. And what he actually does during the class is he's like, I'm not teaching you AP Bio because I'm not here for that. In fact, y'all are going to help me get revenge on this Miles guy. And so the assignment this week is, for example, one of the episodes, he's like, the assignment this week is for y'all to catfish him. So y'all need to come up with the best catfish lines for me to send him. So we can break his heart. And so, like, that's what he does. And then meanwhile, the class is trying to actually get him actively removed because they're all smart kids who are like, nah, we want an actual teacher here so we can actually learn because we're nerds and we want to learn AP Bio. And so, like, one episode, they take advantage of the fact that there's the policy that as a teacher you can't leave your students by themselves.
Yeah.
So they take advantage of the fact that he left them to go get some potato chips, because this is the kind of guy we're talking about. Somebody who's like, oh, I don't have my favorite chips. I'm gonna go leave y'all for like 20 minutes to go grab that. And they just heard the principal get onto him for that, and the principal's played by Patton Oswalt, by the way, who's great, great comedian. And so they out while Patton is getting on to him about like leaving the students, they fake having one of the students standing on a table and injuring himself, so that way they can create like a little, not like a lawsuit, but like create an issue where he has to go to like teacher jail and has to get involved with the teacher union to fight for his job and be like, well, you know, you left the student alone and now he got injured, this is why the rule exists, and so now you're at fault for this. And of course he likes the idea of being in teacher jail because he's still getting paid to be in teacher jail, and he's trying to write a book this whole time, so this lets him have a chance to just write the book and sit in the teacher jail rather than actually have to teach. You can see why when I told you about this sounds like a character Dennis would create.
Yeah.
It's
just, I'm sorry, teacher jail
as opposed to like just being like sent home to where and you not get paid. So like teacher jail in the show is like, oh, you sit in a trailer that's disconnected from the school.
I was about to say teacher jail as opposed to like regular jail.
Yes. But no, and so it's a really funny show. I really like it. I think there's like 4 seasons, so I'm in for a good ride. But yeah, there's a lot of fans that have speculated that were like, oh, this is a Dennis character. This is somebody that Dennis would have had like made up in his head. But Glenn Howerton's come out and been like, unlike Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's involved with the creation of that show, he was not involved with the creation of AP Bio, and he's like, I didn't help create the show. I just kind of came in as the lead actor, and that's it. And he's like, so as far as that theory goes, he had to debunk it, but it's still a fun theory. And he was like, it's a cool theory. He was like, the fans are really creative, and so like, which I appreciate. Like, you know, he let us down gently, was like, no, that's not true, but also I appreciate your creativity as my fans, which I appreciate that usually from Glenn. Glenn tends to have a really creative mind, although I disagree with him still on some stuff with Always Sunny that because I've watched their podcast where they talk about some of the stuff that they've done in the show. Like there's one bit in the show where Frank has a gun and he shoots it a couple times, and then he keeps shooting it and it clicks because it's empty. And originally it was going to be empty every time, but then Charlie talked them during the editing process, was like, what if we had the shots go off the first couple times and show that it was loaded the first couple times, because like the joke is that Frank says it's not loaded, boom, boom. And so but that was a decision that Glenn was like, no, this is dumb, but the fans disagree with him as well. They're like, no, Charlie was right to make that, because it's way funnier with the gunshots first, and then than it would have been if it was blank the whole time. So yeah, so it but I appreciate that he's like somebody who can appreciate the fans, and even if he disagrees with us sometimes. I think there are good actors like that it can show an appreciation for their audience. As for stuff on the channel, though, that's been going on this week, strangely enough, the Diablo videos have been taking off. Like Diablo 2 Part 4 almost has 1,000 views.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Randomly? Very randomly. Because, like, parts 1 to 3 of Diablo 2 do not have this type of watch numbers. So, like, the fact that Part 4 just took off, I was just like, oh. And so, like, I'm trying to figure out what made that one in particular take off. There's no bot interference from what I can tell, because, like, our audience for it is mostly United States and Canadian. So I don't really see bots in that regard, because usually you'd see more foreign countries if there was bots involved. And like YouTube's pretty good at discounting bot views on if you're not the one like putting them in. And so like there was a point where it was 1,000, but YouTube had to take some of them off. So I was like, okay, well, some of those didn't watch enough, or they were bots, and so YouTube already pre-calculated that they don't count. So I'm experimenting with part 5. I released part 5 early. It's not getting the same numbers yet, but I have made some funny stuff where I've put in like, because I'm not usually really good at giving our videos thumbnails. I'm really good at giving Pixie thumbnails for her videos, but I'm not good at doing it for our own content. I need to do it more for our own content.
Going back to Tristram again.
And so I did that. Yeah, I put we're going back to Tristram again with my character, and put it there with the Diablo 2 logo. And so I need to do better at doing more of that. And so I'm experimenting with that to see if maybe that will keep that kind of view going. I also did the same thing with the most recent college football thing, where I added a little bit more flair to the thumbnail for that, by putting like the what bowl game it was. I appreciate that, Pixie. And then I have one that I did for a Star Wars The Old Republic video coming up. And so yeah, and I've been playing The Old Republic a lot more again, because I actually recorded 3 parts in a row on this last one, because one of the challenges, because like since Galactic Seasons they give you like your dailies.
Yeah.
And so like it's like their season pass. And so for the dailies I had to do 15 either Imperial Agent or Trooper Origin missions. And so I was like, well, I haven't done Imperial Agent in a while, and I really like that story. So I went ahead and did Imperial Agent. And the main reason I really like Imperial Agent is multiple reasons. I really like a good, like, political espionage and drama story. And Imperial Agent is 100% that. And also, it's written by probably one of the best authors in Star Wars right now, who's really, like, improving. Alexander Freed, which I've been reading one of his upcoming books for y'all, because I have an advanced copy of Mask of Fear, and I've been enjoying it a lot. And and I was explaining it to you. It's basically the early days of even pre-rebellion.
Yeah.
So like we're seeing like pre-rebellion Empire, but we're getting like the early days of Bail, Mon, and Saul. And so I'm really enjoying it. I like Alexander Freed's approach to espionage. He's really good at writing that type of stuff. I mean, he's written some for, like, Legends stuff, but he's also written some really good stuff with canon, because he's written the Battlefront 1 tie-in novel, Twilight Company. And then he also wrote the Alphabet Squadron novels, which our friend Chase, Forward Into the Black, really likes, because they're X-Wing books. They're books about X-Wing pilots, which, of course, Chase is a big spaceship guy, so right up here, you know. The one thing that Alexander Freed is not so great at is combat, but the book I've been reading does not have a lot of that, obviously. So I think that's kind of they're really leaning into his strength as an author and going, you're really good at espionage and political drama, let's leave you there and give you a trilogy of books regarding it. And so I'm excited. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to this week. Just kind of messing around with the channel and watching AP Bio. Were you thinking of anything else before we transition?
I was thinking about, I had the errant thought of sometimes I think I rely a little bit too much on combat during games and stories that I write.
You're actually really good at, like, your combat's pretty interesting to keep track of, like, because, like, with the short stories you've written for me, there's a lot of combat in them, and so I do kind of see what you mean by that, but I think you write them well enough that it's not a problem.
Yeah. And I mean that narratively I rely too much on them. But on the same hand, I'm also like that's a part of their profession. They're not gonna just...
Yeah, like they're not gonna not get into fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like you would think that maybe a combat would be a quarter of what you write, but in reality it's almost half.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that, and that's maybe something you could test. Like you could really if you wanted to challenge
I
yourself.
think I have written one where there is no combat.
It's an interesting challenge to put yourself into.
It is the shortest one, I think. And then the other one that I've written that doesn't have any combat in it, the purpose of that short story, which is, I don't know why it's like bounty hunters and monster hunters with me all the time. Sometimes both.
I'll make you write a smuggler one next. How about that? We change it up. Keep it to where it's like within the same kind of it's like cousins to what you write, but it's just like close enough. Like it's different enough that it's something new, but it's close enough that you aren't uncomfortable.
Yeah. The only other one that I've written that doesn't have any combat in it is for Chiari, because I was like, this will be a fun one, and it also will explain a little bit more about what this character is.
Yeah.
And where they're at on the morality spectrum.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's it for what we've been up to, and we can kind of. It's gonna be a shorter episode today. So there's no news. So let's kind of just jump right into today's main topics, which we have the High Republic Adventures Phase 3, Volume 2, Daughters of No World, and then the Inquisitors miniseries.
Yeah, which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's go chronologically, because I like to go chronologically when we do these. So let's talk High Republic Adventures, which I just want to say I think it's really cute that they got each other the same exact gift.
It is.
Okay, so Zine and Lula are finally going to propose to each other. We're getting really close to the wedding special. And they both get each other the same exact bracelet to propose with. And it's so fucking cute. And the way that they go to their friends, they go to Farzala and Court, and they're like...
They don't do this at the same time, by the way, because that would have resolved this so much quicker.
But no, first it's
Zine first.
And Zine goes, hey, so I'm going to propose to Lula.
And they're like, okay.
They're like, yeah, we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but so what do I get somebody who has no home world? And she's like, well, I was thinking about it, and we both kind of are Daughters of No World, and we kind of have Iriadu as a common ground of. So I talked to our friend Seth Tarkin, and was like, I got her this bracelet that I'll propose with, and
they're like, yeah, that's a good idea.
And she's like, but what if she says no? And they're like,
she's not going to.
And they're like, she's like, oh, okay, I guess if you say so. Walks away, and then maybe an hour later, Lula pulls up, is like, hey, so I'm gonna propose to Zine.
In that moment, Farzala,
they want to laugh so badly. They want to say something so badly, but they're also such good
we
friends.
We have to keep it a secret. We can't sell her out. And they have the exact same conversation.
In fact, they start finishing Lula's sentences because because Farzal is like, yeah, you're both Daughters of No World, and she's like, yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And then that was honestly one of my favorite moments in this volume. I also really like the Tarkin politics. I like the politics of Iriadu. In case you haven't noticed, I really like fictional politics and political drama, but only when it's fictional.
I don't mind them in stories.
And so so yeah, but going back to this cute little proposal thing though, they're just like, yeah, and she's like, but what if, and she's like, oh yeah, and I got her a gift, it's this bracelet, and they're like, god damn, it's the same exact thing, but they can't say it. And she's like, and then they're like, and she's like, but I'm only wondering one question, and they're like, what if she says no? She's like, yeah, and they're like, oh well, we know her, she's not gonna.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Because we already know that she's planning to ask also. And she's like, yeah, when we land on Iriadu, I'm going to propose. And they're like, okay.
It's a good plan.
Good plan.
The best, another great part is that I feel...
The actual proposal?
No, that's great too, but I feel vindicated because...
About Cian and...
No, I do like what happens with it
Emmerich
as well.
and Cian, yeah. There's just so much good in this comic.
Yeah. And it's the very start of this comic run where it's like, man, you lost your home, your memory for a year.
You got to be vindicated
I
on
was
that.
like, I fucking knew it.
To be fair, I had realized it for a while. It's just I couldn't tell you that I realized it. Mm-hmm. And so, like, because we had that conversation of, like, did she really lose her memory or she just hates Crix that much?
I was like, that's not how that works.
Like, is she, like, it just felt like in the moment it could have been her just like, Crix is just that, and I hate him that much. I just don't want to remember him.
But I'm like,
but in
no,
reality, it's
not...
no. It's no. She actually did not remember things.
But Crix is dead, so we never have to worry about him again.
Yeah. Except for in this comic.
For like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Which he's not dead still, even by the end of this volume. I think the next volume they're gonna tie back into like where we are in the short stories, because the short stories he's already dead, but in the comics not yet.
Yeah, whereas I think Rue being mad at Crash is like, why did we even bother?
Yeah. And so like I like the Emmerich and Cian stuff.
They're like, so where's your girlfriend, Emmerich? She is not my girlfriend.
Anybody want to tell her that?
The funniest bit about
Lula's like, even with my memory loss, even I know that's girlfriend.
Yeah, the funniest thing is that, so context, Farzala and Severin, our Tarkin character, have gone into basically like
along with Zine.
Along with Zine, they're like in a meeting hall courtroom.
Yeah, they're basically in like the, I guess the official government building of Iriadu
to go and talk politics.
Yeah, because basically the problem right now is the Iriaduans are basically trying to decide, do they let the Nihil be here legally? Mm-hmm. Like, do they basically accept the Nihil as being here? And basically formally allow their invasion. It's the Phantom Menace. It's Naboo where they're like, oh, we make this legal. We sign a treaty and make it like
The thing is, while the planet Iriadu itself is within Republic space, on paper it's not part of the Republic.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like gray areas.
Like they're an independent system.
Yeah.
And so like. And on top of that, they kind of don't. They have some bad mixed feelings about the Republic.
Yeah,
and Jedi. It's specifically led by Sev's uncle.
Yeah,
who is like kind of in charge of the meeting with the with the Iriaduans, and the Tarkin he's basically the current head of the Tarkin family, sort of. Because our friend Sev has been declared legally dead.
Yep.
Because of what happened back on Starlight.
It's causing all kinds of legal trouble.
Yeah, like she's still trying to legally prove, hey, I'm alive.
So, while Farzala, Sev, and Zine are in the court trying to sort some stuff out,
along with the droid,
because the droid is not a member of the Republic or the Nihil, so we can just go in there.
Yeah, because they were like, only 2 members of the Republic can come in here as representatives, because I guess they only try to keep it small in numbers of outsiders.
Yep. So while they're all in there doing that, Emmerich, who has just left the building, some Nihil pull up and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be
like, hey,
here.
you want to fight?
Basically, and the guards are like, hey, you can't do that here.
Yeah, you can't. It's the Highlander. It's the episode of Highlander where with McLeod and what's his name, Fitzkern. When they're fighting in the street and they're like,
pretty much.
They're like, you can't fight in the street of the city. Can't you read? Well, no, actually.
No. And they're like, So this Nihil guy, the like big bruiser who is giving a lot of trouble, goes and he puts his hand on like Emmerich's shoulder.
And during this whole time, they've been teasing, Lula and them have been teasing Emmerich, going, Cian's your girlfriend. And Emmerich's like, no,
she's not.
And then
this guy puts his hand on Emmerich's shoulder, and the funniest thing I've ever heard Emmerich say is that he looks dead in this Nihil's face and goes, I'm sorry about your hand.
And then they're like, oh yeah, Cian is the one with the sniper that did that. And Lula's like, I may have lost all my memories, but that's girlfriend behavior.
And they ask Emmerich if he told her to do that. And he goes, no, it's just something she did on her own.
And that's why it's girlfriend behavior. Isn't that right, Pixie? That's girlfriend behavior. You shoot if you need to, you will shoot the hands off of somebody putting their hands on your boyfriend. If somebody put their hands on Zach.
It wouldn't surprise me, considering the Pixie lore that I know.
We'll get probably confirmation of that in a second if she's there. And not lurking. But yeah. The Pixie lore. But am I wrong? If somebody put their hands on Zach, that's 100% like girlfriend behavior. You shoot the hands off the person that's putting their hands on them. That's how a girl. That's what you should want. That's. Oh yeah, that's relationship goals. Exactly.
No.
And so, yeah. So Cian's absolutely.
Yeah.
And also I think it's really. So we did not actually talk about the actual proposal.
Oh yeah. The actual proposal happens after,
they crash land.
They crash land. Because God forbid anyone in Star Wars ever have a peaceful landing.
Yeah, instead the Nihil were like, you can't land on Iriadu. And they're like, well, watch us.
Try me. The entire crew is complaining because their ship got blown up. So they have to jam themselves in to a smaller ship, and they're complaining. They're like, every time we have to get into a different ship, it's always the small ones. Why do we keep doing this?
Yeah, and on top of that, they also had to save the smaller, I forget her name now, Zent. Yeah, which is the same species as Court, and so because she snuck aboard the ship to be with them, and funny enough just becomes really good friends with like the Tarkins.
Yeah,
like she's just really good at forming bonds with the oldest Tarkin, Sav's like grandma.
Yeah,
and so and which is good, it works out in their favor because we learned that well, first, let's get to the proposal. They crash land, and Lula's, like, looking for her necklace in the dirt. She's like, hold on, give me a second. I gotta find something. And before she can, Zine's like, hey, I got a speech for you. I'm gonna give this really endearing speech. And then, will you marry me? And, of course, they both immediately, because, like, they both have the necklace, the armbands out by that point, and they just go, yes. And it's just so cute, and like they're getting a very important phone call at that second, and Court's like, hold on a minute, something really important and cute is happening.
Meanwhile, on the side, yeah, some important shit's happening over here too, man. I don't know if you noticed, but you're in the occlusion zone now.
Yeah, because now, after they crash land, Iriadu becomes part of the occlusion zone. Which is why that the Iriaduans are like, okay, what do we do now?
Yep.
But then we learn Uncle Tarkin is actually...
He's a liar.
He's a liar. Well, while he has been fence-sitting publicly, he is being slowly pushed towards, yes, let's have the Nihil come in.
Yeah.
By... I forget the name of the other family, the one that's pushing for it. Yeah. But it's like some other family guy that is pushing it. And then we learned that he's also been a liar for a long time because like his big claim to fame is that he killed like this very dangerous creature out in the woods because as we know, Iriaduans love to go hunting in their area to kind of prove their adulthood.
Yeah.
And so, like, and it's something that even our buddy, our Willem Tarkin, even he had to do. And, but we learned that, no, he actually didn't kill this thing that he claims to have killed, at least by himself.
Yeah.
Because he claimed to do it by himself. Which would have been a very big claim to fame, because he'd be the first one to do it. But no, it's then, like, Sav basically saves one, because she basically comes to terms with, oh, these things are actually very peaceful.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of let them, like, know that you're not there to fight them either. And they're like, oh, that's a very Zine and Lulu are like, that's very Jedi of you.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, kind of. And so she comes barreling up, riding this thing into the court, into the Iriadu and, like, government building to face her uncle. And he's like, whoa, 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 what are you doing with that thing? And she's like, oh, you're afraid of this? Didn't you kill one before? It's okay. And she's, like, pushing it closer to him while doing it. He's like, all right, I had my squad help me. They laid a trap, and then we killed it once it fell in. And then she's like, huh. Alright, well, I'm not going to share the truth of that, but you're going to reinstate me as a Tarkin and that I'm alive. You're going to speed up the process of my paperwork. At the same time, her twin brother has also been trying to slowly help deal with the situation as well, because he's also been pro-Jedi and Republic.
Yeah.
Because he was also saved by the Jedi when it came to some stuff. It's really nice seeing good Tarkins, by the way. It's very interesting seeing, like, Tarkins that are actually, like, not, like, full-on militaristic warmongers. Which I would argue the one we know in the, you know, future is pretty much I would argue he's a warmonger.
Yeah.
Whether he would like that term or not, because I feel like he would see himself as just a soldier, but he's really a warmonger, I think.
Yeah, he's also a shit investigator. Sorry, I'm still mad about that Ahsoka shit.
I also think, though, that was because I think he was trying to frame her as well. Like, I think he was in on the frame job of just like, we need somebody, it's cool that it's this Jedi, perfect. And I think he just didn't investigate further because he didn't want to. It's not a case of he did a bad job investigating, it's that he just didn't want to. But yeah, so it's good seeing good Tarkins, just like we kind of see...
Oh, yeah.
Just like we've kind of seen the spectrum of Santekas. Like, we've seen good Santekas, we've seen bad Santekas. So we've seen, like, a whole spectrum of them, showing that, oh, while Lore Santeka is the one we all know because of The Force Awakens and stuff like that, there are other Santekas that are both good and bad. Like, and so it kind of makes it to where a family name doesn't equal a good or bad person. Same thing with the Graphs. Like, the Graphs, to me, are initially a good family because of books that you haven't read yet that came out before the High Republic stuff. But then the High Republic expanded them as maybe, some of them are a little selfish, some of them are good. You know, we get the spectrum. And I think that's important. I don't think a family should just be all evil or all good. Right? That seems that's too black and white. Even for Star Wars, which is very black and white a lot of the time. So I kind of like that we get that full view. But unfortunately, we end with Sav being very vague about whether or not she's going to help them deal with the Nihil.
In regards to that,
I think it's a yes, obviously. Yeah. I think she's I think she's being vague on purpose because she's now has to do with now it's time to politic. Yeah. So she's now got to politic now that her name means something again.
I'll say this. So the uncle, right? Mm-hmm. The other family guy, before he shows up, the uncle is like looking out over Ariadu and he sees the Nihil ships, and he's like, God damn, I hate these things. They look ugly as fuck.
Yeah, and then the other family guy's like,
I'm like, oh, it's not a case of like, it's a case of I'm going to let them in, but I fucking hate that I'm going to have to do that.
It's because Iriadu is very much, and we already know this because of Phase 2 especially, Irem and Iriadu are both very isolationist. Iriadu more so.
Yeah. I was about to say, what happened to Arono? Did Arono become Iriadu?
Oh, no.
Because those are different places.
Yeah, you're right. But Iriadu was in...
Iriadu is also very...
Because they were also in Phase 2 and also, yeah. But, like, we know Irem, Arano, and Iriadu are all very isolationist. Mm-hmm. And so I think Iriadu especially has kind of shown how isolationist it can be. And so I think that's more what it's about, is they're like, God, we don't want to let them in.
The Republic or the Nihil here, but we're going to have to start choosing soon.
Yep.
And
we have less of a choice when it comes to the Nihil because of the goddamn OZ, yeah.
It's Tarkin family business. Before we started, I guess this goes slightly ties back.
Yeah, because I did. You were gonna say something. I was like, hold on, let's save that for the camera.
I think at the time I said it's not a matter of trust.
Yeah, because I said now the issue is will she be trustworthy?
Yeah.
And then you were like, it's not a matter of trust. And now I would like you to expound on that.
The reason why I'm thinking that is it's like, well, they're not. It doesn't matter if you trust one side or the other. They're here now, so you can either side with the Jedi and the Republic, which is a dangerous gambit, because they don't have a way to cross the OZ.
At least not easily. Like, they can, but it's just not... You're not going to get a full army.
Yeah. And you're also not going to get... If you side with the Nihil, well...
You're making a deal with the devil.
You're making a deal with the devil. I'm guessing they sided with the Nihil based on the other short stories we read.
I guess we're going to find out, because I think Phase 3 is the actual Battle of Iriadu.
Yeah.
And we're also getting the Battle of Iriadu very soon with books and stuff, so we're all building up to this big moment of Iriadu just... Boom.
Do you think it'll be... worse, yeah.
Are we talking worse than Dalna, I guess? Are we comparing...
worse than Dalna.
I don't know if it's going to be as big as Dalna. I think it's going to be big and impactful. I think this fight is going to explain why... Because currently Iriadu seems less warmonger than I remember. Because, like, with later Tarkin, the way he reflects on Iriadu very makes it seem like it's a war culture, right? It's a warrior culture. But this doesn't give warrior culture from what I've seen, and like they very much seem to have more of a political, like, diplomatic culture at the moment, especially because of the whole no fighting in the streets. Like that felt like, oh, I would have thought a warrior culture would have been all about go ahead and fight in the streets. But maybe because of this battle, their culture kind of shifts.
I'm thinking it's a little bit, like, in terms of scale, in importance, I'm going to put it under Battle of Jeddah in terms of how bad things are going to go.
Okay. So, yeah, wow, even less than Jeddah.
Yeah.
So, because I would say Dalna's the worst case scenario.
Dalna's the fucking worst.
Like, that's worst case scenario. Jeddah is like a medium case scenario. Yeah. So you're saying it's lower than that?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll find out. I would put it at least in the... I would imagine it's going to be in the middle of Jeddah and Dalna in terms of how bad.
The reason why I'm saying that is only because of how many fucking people were at Dalna. And Jeddah, of course, was a boiling pot anyway.
Yeah. Here it's less of a boiling pot, it's more of just things are going to happen because of... Iriadu is arguably an important planet to get out here. And then, because it has so many resources and so many potential allies, both sides are going to want it, and that's why things are going to blow the way they go. Like, it's just going to end up that way. But I guess we'll find out with Phase 3, with Volume 3, and the rest of the Phase 3 that we've got coming. Because it seems like everything else is pointing towards this being the big event. I give this about an 8. It's a really good comic. I really like it. It's almost a 9. It's almost. But there's just so many good things that I'm like, oh, I really like this moment. I like this moment. And the story is really well paced too. Like there wasn't a lot of slowdown. I'll say the first issue was a little slow, but it was kind of just a setting of what's going on and kind of reminding us what's going on with Lula and Zine before we got into everything.
I'll go with an 8 as well, yeah.
Because it's well paced, it's well told. I like the action sequences we get, and I'm excited about the next part. So, yeah, so it's really well done. Inquisitor, not as well liked by me.
All right,
but I did enjoy it. It's just it felt a little weaker, and I think the main issue is that it doesn't focus really on the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
So each issue is about a different set of Inquisitors going after the same Jedi.
Fucking Tensu Run.
Tensu Run, yeah.
It was a bad week for the Inquisitors.
Probably a bad month.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like this one Jedi who wasn't even a knight.
Yeah.
Got a legend because he just saved so many people over and over. And so Vader's like, alright, I need you to take this man down.
Yep. And
Grand Inquisitor fails.
Grand Inquisitor fails on his own.
Because he can't even find the guy, let alone kill him.
Yeah. He's like, he does the Inquisitor thing of like, hey,
Jedi have to Jedi, so I'm gonna do some mean things. And Tensu's like, well, I'm not even anywhere near there.
Yeah. And the people that are there are like, well, he's not here, and we're not gonna rat him out.
Not a single snitch.
Yeah, and Grand Inquisitor's like,
alright, you all die.
Okay, you all die. Except for the kids, because we need some more Inquisitors.
Or soldiers, even.
Soldiers.
Like, we're just bad guys.
They're like, your parents have chosen to abandon you. It's like, no, they didn't. You
murdered
fucking
them.
murdered them.
We watched
the
you.
The Empire won't abandon you. Like,
we'll just orphan you.
We'll just orphan you.
So I guess the first issue is a focus on the Grand Inquisitor,
yeah.
but I feel like the rest of this series is not.
I forget.
It's really a Tensu Run comic.
Yeah. Tensu Run pranks the Inquisitors. I forget. Do we switch over to 7th and 9th Sister, or...
we go 5th Brother.
5th Brother. 5th Brother actually manages to find Tensu Run.
Gets a good fight in, and then gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
Also, meanwhile, in throughout all 4 issues, Tensu is basically trying to reform the Jedi. His master died in the first issue because Grand Inquisitor kills him as like a... Yeah. Hey, we're going to draw him out by killing you because you're important to him. And that kind of works. It's why Tensu and 5th Brother fight each other. Because 5th Brother is kind of the one sent on the fishing expedition after that. Because Vader's like, hey, you failed me, Grand Inquisitor. Send somebody else to do the fishing expedition. It was a good idea, but you failed. So somebody else gets to use it. And Tensu is, meanwhile, dealing with... Do I get revenge? Do I focus on my quest of rebuilding the Jedi Order? And he chooses to focus on his quest, because he does fight 5th Brother, but then he's like, but I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to let which might have been a mistake, but also, you know, I'm going to let the other Inquisitors know that I let you live just to really dig it in even more. Which it does, in fact, work as a dig. Like, they are so mad about it.
Yep.
And so, like, Tensu's found this ancient Jedi temple that he's using as a... along with Jod and...
some other guy.
Or Jed, sorry, Jed.
Yeah.
and somebody else, which Jed,
Go on.
a Jedi named Jed,
Mm-hmm.
one letter off from just being Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forget the name of the other Jedi that's with them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Which goes into issue 3, which is the seventh and ninth sisters.
Are
yeah.
like they interrogate a crime boss, I guess.
Card
shark,
I'd say info.
like an informant, I guess.
Not an info champ,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who like they run into playing cards, and they're like, "Hey, we know you know information about Tensu.
Where is he?
Where is he?"
Pretty much, yeah.
And he's like, hey, I can tell y'all put down the lightsabers. And he tells them that he led them, the Tensu, to the Jedi Temple. And
Yeah.
he's like, I left him there, and so, you know, he's probably still there. Which, he was in the city at the time when they get there. Which they're like, hey, there's a city nearby, we can poison them, the people there, and that'll draw them out.
Yep.
Which, lucky enough, he was in town at the time when they did it.
It does.
Because they're like, well, we need to save them. And so him and his Jedi friend, not Jed, the other one.
Yeah. The Inquisitors release the rage virus, and everyone starts scrapping.
And so, yeah, it's like the Scarecrow toxin.
Yeah, except it pisses you off.
Hold on, we're in an ad break, so we will, on Twitch, let them have their ad break. So we can talk about other stuff in the meantime. But yeah, it just felt weaker to me so far. But anything else that's been on your mind besides this? I guess I try not to talk about main topics when we're in ad breaks.
I don't have too many things. Just like. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm answering some stuff about comics.
Yeah, you going ahead, man.
Next week's gonna be interesting though.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was let me see. What's on the? We're almost at the end of Clone Wars too.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. That's in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
We'll just go ahead and do a full break while we wait. Since we got nothing to talk about, unless Pixie's got something for us. Alright, we're back. But yeah, back to the main topic though about Inquisitor comic. Like, So yeah, the seventh and ninth sisters fight our main Jedi protags in the middle of the street. They get some good quips in, and like ninth sister's like, "You're so annoying. You keep talking. What about you? You don't talk as much as Tensu, do you?" And
No.
like, no, I just kick your ass.
Yep.
And then but yeah, it's and so like it's a fun comic, but I don't know, I just struggled for it to be an Inquisitor comic. And like as we get to the fourth issue, like where things wrap up, Vader comes in and is like, all right, that's it, you guys failed me so badly, I'm gonna give y'all one last chance to get them, but
this time all of you go, because clearly this 1-1-2 thing didn't fucking work.
yeah, like y'all suck. And if y'all still can't get them, I'm coming in to do it, and you don't want that.
Yep.
It's the you want to get the chores done before mom and dad get home. Because if they get home and they see it's not done yet,
Yeah.
and so he obviously they fail.
Yeah.
They do kill the friend, and then the other Jedi friend, and then Vader shows up and he's like, okay, I gave y'all enough time. And Inquisitor's like, hold on though, we killed one of them. He's like, that's not the one though. That wasn't the one.
I can't have this fucker out here inspiring people.
Yeah, because his legend is giving too much hope.
Yep. And
so Vader comes in, and Vader fights Tensu, Inquisitor fights Jed, and then Jed dies. And then eventually it's just Inquisitor and Vader versus Tensu. And eventually Vader slashes Tensu and cuts his head off. And it's like in the Jedi temple that they raided. And Tensu's body goes off like a pit.
Yeah.
And Vader's like, alright, somebody go get me his head. And they're like, well, what about the body? He's like, let people walk over it and forget the legend of Tensu Run. Which is a damn cold line, by the way. It's actually a real... hold on, I want to get the actual exact quote, because it's so good. I will... like, while it didn't impress me as much as High Republic Adventures, I did like it. I want to make that clear. Like, I still liked it, it just wasn't... it wasn't as advertised to me. It doesn't make it a bad comic, it just makes it not what I was hoping for. Here it is. Let it join the soil, which will be walked upon by those who will never know the legend of Tensu Run. That is a damn cold line. Oh, man. But, yeah, I talked about this off camera while we were on the break.
Yeah.
It's a 7. It's a strong 7. Like, it's a good, like, 7 is not bad on my scale. 7 is, it's still good, it just could improve. Like, there's room for improvement. I think, actually, its biggest fault is that it's a mini-series. Because we don't really get time for character development of the multiple Inquisitors that are involved with this.
Yeah.
And this is a Inquisitors mini-series that's not about the Inquisitor. It's the same thing that happened with the Mace Windu comic, where we were like, oh, that was a really good comic, but it wasn't about Mace Windu. We didn't, like, he wasn't the standout. Like, it's a Tensu Run comic, it's not an Inquisitor comic.
Yeah.
So it's the same situation in my head. Like, now I want more Tensu Run. Like, I kind of want to see what else he did to cause so much annoyance to the Empire, because obviously we know that there's more. Because they imply that he did a lot more than what we saw. And they showed us some of the bigger stuff, but there's probably more that he did. And then, but if it was an Inquisitor comic, I would want more Grand Inquisitor character development, because we know how complicated of a character he is, because he was a temple guard who became disillusioned with the Jedi, which is why he becomes Grand Inquisitor, and he was disillusioned with the Jedi for a more greedy reason than like a lot of the other Inquisitors. Like, you haven't read the Vader comic that like introduces like a lot of his wants of why he becomes an Inquisitor, but it's because he wanted to. He was a temple guard who was not allowed to look into the forbidden section of the Jedi archives. And he's like, but I'm a temple guard, so I should be allowed to go wherever I want. But Jocasta Nu's like, no, you don't get to go in there just because you're a guard. It's for masters only, still. And because, you know, forbidden knowledge and all that. And of course, Grand Inquisitor got what he wanted eventually, once Jocasta was out of the picture and could no longer defend the archive. Because Grand Inquisitor's like, hey, I can go in there anytime I want now.
Yep.
But that, like, what do you do with a character like that after? He's got what he wants, but he still wants more. So how do we develop a character like that? How do we get that and make him more of a threat like we see him in Rebels, which once again you haven't gotten to, but he's a threat in Rebels. How do we get there? Whereas right now he doesn't really seem like a threat of a character. Same thing with the rest of the Inquisitors. They don't really seem like the threats that we see them as later down the line.
Yeah. I think it's because they're inexperienced at this point in time.
But I feel like that, yeah. And that's what I would want to see expanded on in an Inquisitor's comic, but we don't get that. Instead, Vader has to...
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting if, say, one of the Inquisitors was the one who took down Tensu, right? I think that would have been more compelling of a situation, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if it had been like an ongoing rather than a mini-series, we could have had more. Maybe this could have been the first arc. We end with Vader killing Tensu, but then we have a situation where the next arc we actually do get a Jedi that is able to be killed by the Inquisitors after some fight, right? Obviously, we don't let them kill the Jedi immediately. We make them fight and earn it. But we still make it to where an Inquisitor actually does kill a Jedi, and then it's like, oh, you can do the job, and this is why Vader doesn't kill y'all. Right?
Yep.
And also why you should be considered a threat. But we don't get that. And so that's why it's only a 7 to me. I feel like I'm defending my point. I know I don't need to, because it's an opinion. But I'm just expanding on where my brain is thinking on that number. But I'm interested to see where you land on it and your thoughts overall.
I'll give it... an 8. The reason why is, yeah, it's kind of short, but I'm not a fan of things being drawn out.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Star Wars stories, it feels a lot like that. But it is interesting because we do see into both, like, how each of these Inquisitors thinks
how
about
they operate.
How they, internally think about the situation and how their methods. Because, like, Fifth Brother does not use the same trick as the Grand Inquisitor, nor does he use the same trick as Seventh or Ninth Sisters.
Yeah, because Grand Inquisitor's whole thing is very much manipulating how Jedi operate.
Yeah.
Fifth Brother is very much just a head first into things.
Track them down and just physically kick their ass.
Yeah, like he's very much just
like use a droid to help.
Yeah, he's a Darth Maul. He's a brute. He's a brute force type operator. Whereas seventh is a little bit more conniving. Ninth is very similar to Fifth Brother, where Ninth Sister is very much I just want to kick butt, but when you put Seventh and Ninth together, they work better because of that. Like you get a good balance of somebody who can track, but also somebody who can actually do damage.
Yeah.
But I would also put ninth sister a little bit smarter than fifth brother.
Yeah. Shame I didn't save her when she ran into Cal.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a good comic. I still had fun reading it. I just wanted... It's a situation of I wanted more. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I think the thing is you got a little hyped up about it, whereas I got like a week.
Yeah. Well, and I think it would have been interesting. It's not even hype. It's just, oh, this had more potential in my mind. But it's not a bad thing where we ended up. It's just could have been more. And so, like, not to take away from your joy of it, but
it's very much just from my perspective. It's like, can we please just get this one motherfucker?
Yeah. So, but overall, a good week of comics.
But I'm like, Inquisitor's gonna Inquisitor, see how that goes.
So, overall, this was a good week of comics. We got some good stuff. Next week, we're going to do an audiobook. A short one.
Okay.
It's one of the Audible original ones. It's Padawan's Pride, which was on the schedule for a while, and then the other one came out, High Republic one came out, and we were like, oh, we should do that one first, actually. And so... now we're going to do Padawan's Pride next week. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Like I said, it's a little shorter this week. Yeah. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching. We've got YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, all Escape Reality Films. Same thing with Blue Sky. I'm also on Twitter at Escape Reality 94, although I've been posting there less and less. If you really like our content, we got a Patreon, also Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yo.
And there you can watch our YouTube content before it's released publicly on YouTube. You can also check out our Discord, which is linked down below wherever you're watching. And that's a way to become a part of our community, hang out with us. We weren't able to this week because of some technical difficulties. So I think next week, though, we'll be able to finally watch the finale of Arcane. We had some technical difficulties with getting our group together for Thursday.
I'll say this. You ever look at a character and immediately know what they're about and be like, oh, you have to go now?
Mm-hmm.
First time I saw Ambessa, I'm like, oh shit, we can't let this lady anywhere near us.
She's kind of a Tarkin. And yeah. But yeah, so I'm excited about finishing that up, and then I think we have maybe we'll have D&D tomorrow for our acquisitions. So if you want to listen in and to us recording it, be ahead of even the Patreon members that way. But that's also if our technical difficulties have been solved by then. But right now it's planned as we are going to do it unless something happens.
As I understand it, the party is ready to throw hands with anybody and everybody in Baldur's Gate.
Well, last time we left off, and I think I can talk about it because I think the episode's out. Let me double check, but I think the episode's out. So I can talk about where we left off last time. And because last time we left off, they were about to deal with their own plan. Yeah. Yep, it's out. It's been out for a month. Yeah, they blew up Ramazeth's tower and are about to get into a fight with Leroican and the big bad Trarik. As well as Leroican's intern, aka not Carl, who has survived somehow being in the radius of the initial explosion. And there's more explosives beneath the tower that they might set off during this fight. Because this is using the smoke powder that they bought.
Oh no.
And they had like 15 barrels of that. And one of those was what was the initial explosion. And so now they have like a bunch of them still in the basement of the tower with I believe Dongo down there ready to
Doggo.
kickstart it if they need to. So that's where we left off, and where we're going to be setting things from the start is immediately in combat for next session. Like we're starting next session with combat started. Like I think I already made them roll initiatives for it, or I was about to make them roll it when we ended last time. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow. So that's why you should join the Discord. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about our friends, or are they still on hiatus?
I don't think they're on hiatus anymore, actually.
Okay, so speaking of D&D,
every Sunday from 5
to 7.
Yeah, 5 to 7, not 7 to 5. That's a different schedule.
That's a long game.
That's a long game. Every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours on YouTube at the Steam_Dungeon playing their 5th edition game, Trials of Naboo. Oh boy, sure a lot can happen. All I know is there was some crime, I think, but I'm not sure. You can go and catch them yourselves.
Yep, and so, yeah, go check them out, Trials of Naboo on YouTube, or sorry, Steam_Dungeon on YouTube, with Trials of Naboo being the name of the series. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome. Really good friends of the channel. Really supportive, and so we'd like to support them back. Also, shout out to, and I know she hates it when I do it, but shout out to our friend Pixie Nixie. So make sure to check her out whenever she gets back to her normal schedule. But I think there's some VODs on the channel still. But she's also been doing YouTube now, so also check out the YouTube channel with that same name, because yours truly has been editing those videos, and they've been playing It Takes Two with their boyfriend Prozac Pulse, which has been a lot of fun editing, and I think it's just as much fun for y'all to check out the shenanigans they get up to. So go check out her YouTube channel as well as Twitch. And as for the Twitch content, she's variety streamer, Fortnite, DBD, kind of all over. Some cozy games every now and then. So a lot of good stuff to check out. I think that's everything.
Me, I need to brush up on my Dead by Daylight lore.
Yeah, I feel like with the Eldritch stuff and all that, that's right up your alley.
I used to know it, but then a bunch of shit happened.
Yeah, like there's just been so many additional stuff, yeah. But yeah, I think that's everything for this week. Like I said, next week we're going to talk about Padawan's Peril is what I said, or something like that. Yeah. Hold on, I can pull it up. Why am I guessing? I have the schedule. Padawan's Pride is next week, and I think that's an Anakin and Obi-Wan story in between episodes 1 and 2.
Okay.
So that's going to be a fun one. Thank you all for watching. I've spoken.
Y'all be safe out there. Later.